First, this operation started Thursday at 2 p.m. It ran from 4 days. It concluded this morning at 2 a.m. 35 subjects were arrested. They ranged from the age of 19 to 65. The subjects that were chatting, they thought they were talking with girls and boys between the ages of 13 to 15. Instead, they were talking to detectives. What was very disturbing is we had 12 detectives that were assigned to the chat line. 5 minutes after logging on the chat line, each detective had anywhere between 5 to 8 people in the queue talking to them. 2 detectives had more than 40 people logged on trying to talk to them. They thought the detective was a stepmom and she was trying to put their 2 children out there. So think about that. 5 minutes onto there, she had 40 people waiting to talk to her online. The supplies of subjects were endless. Every time we got done with one arrest, we had another one on deck, like shooting fish in a barrel. At one time, we had to stop the operation because we ran out of investigators to do the work. As I was watching detectives each day, myself and the sheriff came in, and one of the detectives had on his screen, and I quote, "I hunt evil, you pretend it doesn't exist." I think that says it all when they were doing that work out there. Most of the arrests were from the Tampa Bay area, except one gentleman drove from Miami. He was looking for a girl at the age of 15. 23 were from Pinellas County, 7 from Hillsborough County, 2 from Pasco County, and 2 from Manatee County. They were charged with traveling to meet a minor, seduction of a child using internet or electronic device, attempting lewd and lascivious behavior, resisting arrest, and battery on a law enforcement officer. I can tell you right now, myself and Sheriff Gualtieri, we're in this, and we're going to send one message out. And this is from me, and I know the sheriff's going to say something. If these predators are going to go after our children, we're going to do anything in our power to make sure we go after these predators. So with that, I'll have Sheriff Gualtieri come up. Sheriff?
Thank you, Chief. I just want to take a couple of minutes and lay out for you what some of these people were doing, and as it relates to the kids here in Pinellas County. And I'm going to echo what Chief Holloway said, and we're not going to stop until we purge Pinellas County of these predators. The message to these people and those like them that are out there on the internet and using whatever form of communication on a daily basis to prey on these kids throughout this county is going to stop. And if they don't stop, we're going to put every last one of them in jail. And they are predators, nothing but predators, who are after 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids. And they really need to be eradicated from our county. They need to be eradicated from our culture, and they are hurting our kids. And an example of one yesterday, and the chief and I were in here at various times during this whole operation. And I was in here for one yesterday, and he's on the board there, James King. And he was dialoguing with one of our detectives. He had posted an ad, and the ad was on Craigslist. And the ad said, "Are there any women out there into family love?" Well, what he was looking for was a woman with her kids to have sex with him and his kids. That's what the term family love is you get into all the vernacular and slang that's used on these websites. And the detectives was able to migrate him off of Craigslist and onto texting back and forth. Well, as it turns out, James King, has a 4-year-old daughter. And he admitted that he's having sex with his 4-year-old daughter, who lives in Tampa, with him. And he wanted to come over, and he was going to have sex with the undercover detective's 11 and 14-year-old daughter. And he took a cab to a meeting place in the north part of Pinellas County, and when he showed up, and I was out there, and as soon as he got out of the cab and he's sitting on the ground handcuffed, the first words out of his mouth were that I didn't really have sex with my daughter, and he just started blabbing about it. There's no question that that's what was going on. There were previous reports of it, of him engaging in sex with minors, and these are the kinds of people that are out on the internet preying on these kids. Another one, Nicholas Manske, and he's there on the board. He came down from Hudson, and he was interested in having sex with a 14-year-old boy. And on his way down from Hudson, he stopped and picked up lubricant and condoms. And when he was arrested, they were found in the car. And what he said is he came down to have sex with a 14-year-old because he, quote, couldn't resist the urge anymore. And he also admitted that he had child pornography on his computers. He consented to a search of his computers, and there was a lot of male child porn on those computers. Nicholas is enrolled as a student at the University of South Florida, and get a load of this. He wants to be an elementary school teacher. Russell Edwards, he's on the board. I believe he's number 20 on there, if they're numbered. He was upstairs anyway. So Russell Edwards, on January 23rd, responded to an ad on Craigslist, and he wanted to teach young girls how to have sex. He dialogued with one of the undercover detectives and wanted to teach the undercover detectives' 11 and 14-year-old daughters how to have various forms of sex, including he wanted to teach the 11-year-old how to have anal sex. And in the chats, he asked the mother, who he thought was the mother, if she would hold the 11-year-old down while he had anal sex with the 11-year-old. Another one is Michael Dempsey. And this happened at 11:30 last night. At 11:30 last night, Dempsey was down in Manatee County in Bradenton. And his 10 and 12-year-old daughters at 11:30 last night were asleep in their home. Dempsey's wife is a nurse working midnights at a hospital in Manatee County. And as he's talking, he wants to come up here to Pinellas County and have sex with a 14-year-old girl. So he leaves his 10 and 12-year-old daughters at home alone because their mom's working, comes up here to Pinellas County to meet this 14-year-old to have sex with her. The detectives had to call the mom at the hospital, who's a nurse, and tell her to go home and take care of her kids. Manatee County Sheriff's Office also went out to the house to check on the kids. And they were fine. Of course, didn't even know their dad was gone and came up here to have sex with a 14-year-old. Roger Palmer, who's 63 years old, he's on the board. He responded to an ad, wanted to have sex with a mother and her daughter. And again, thought he was having sex with an 11 and a 14-year-old. He specifically asked whether the girls were virgins, and he insisted that he was going to have oral and vaginal sex with the girls. And during the conversations, he said when he arrived, he was going to refuse to wear a condom because he wanted to make sure that he impregnated both the 11 and the 14-year-old. It goes on and on and on. And as I said a minute ago, we need to purge these people. This conduct has to stop. And we're going to continue to dedicate as many resources as we have to address this problem. I would say, as we stand here today, in Pinellas County at least, this is the #1 problem that we face. The prescription drug abuse problem is still a big problem, but it's not the #1 problem anymore. This is the #1 problem. We formed the Special Victims Unit in the Sheriff's Office this past summer, and our detectives, we have 6 assigned full-time to conducting these investigations, and quite frankly, it's not enough. There's too much of it going on. I went on to some of the websites this morning that the detectives were using as they conducted these investigations, and some of them are Craigslist, Backpage.com, Motherless.com, Mingle2.com, Teenspot.com, Boyahoy.com. They go on, and all the activity that was on there 2 and 3 days ago is the same activity that was on there this morning. It hasn't changed. And as we sit here today and we speak today, what I just described to you is occurring in Pinellas County, in the Tampa Bay area, in Florida, because we've got people like these who are predators. And we've got to make this stop, and they have to understand that there will be serious consequences, and we've got to put some fear into them so that they stop this activity. And regardless of what urges they describe, we can't continue. So I, again, thank Chief Holloway for their partnership, all of the other organizations and agencies that partnered with us in this operation. There were so many of them, and the ICAC task force was instrumental in our success here. But know that we are going to continue this effort relentlessly here in Pinellas County until we see a change in this behavior. So with that, we'll take some questions if you have any.